shoot. Ugh, I keep forgetting about that music. I always think that I just got a few more seconds, like I can hear the end of the song. And it's like, no, no, I can't hear the end of the song. I have got to just press the button and say, done, done, you're done. Because if you don't know, that's why everybody always says, I don't have the rights to that music. I didn't have the rights to that music if you heard any of it. I didn't have the rights to it. And so, therefore, I shouldn't be playing it. But yeah, whatever, whatever. It's all good. It's all good. But I just, sometimes they will interrupt your live stream or take down parts of it or just silence parts of it just because I had that little bit of music in there. So here we are. And yeah, good morning to you. Good morning to you. How are you today? It is oh my God, it seems like we've been raining for 24 hours, and I do believe that that is about to let up at some point today. These glasses are not working for me today. Yeah, I'm not feeling that. So I'll put on my other glasses, and I've got these other ones here though too, but I was so relieved to be out of those. When I was out of them, it's like I just whatever. Y'all don't want to hear my glasses saga. Okay, so these will do. Yeah, because I wasn't feeling those big ones. um Good morning. Good morning. It seems like I still got a spot in here. I don't see one. Okay. So good morning, good morning. Maybe it's a spot on my cornea or something. Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid. I don't want to bury all my stuff over here. So, how are you? How are you? How are you? I'm good. I am good. I am in my seat. And it's interesting because one of the things that they say is what is it? March comes in like a lamb and goes out like a lion. And these last few days, we have had a cold, slushy kind of rain that has been falling. And it's cool. Don't get me wrong. As a matter of fact, what I think I'm going to do, what I think I'm going to do is at the end of the season every year, I kind of collect buds from the flowers that I had out. And so what I'm thinking I'm going to do is go out there and trouble the dirt a little bit and sprinkle some seeds out there and see if all of this showering and stuff can. My problem is that I'll forget I did it and then go out and do it again. Hey there, how are you? Um, uh, oh gosh, Obalafe, uh, Obalafia. Any, uh, good morning to you. Blessings to you. So yeah, I might go out there and do that because tomorrow it's supposed to be a little bit of a warm up, and so I'm excited about that too. It's so many things that are switching over. So now we're at the end of the month of February and about to go into March, and this is Pisces season. My birthday is March 19th, and I always am. Ooh, I go through a lot of, do I want to call it emotional kind of things as I approach my birthday. None that are bad, But what I do like to do is be mindful of the things that I have carried over into this age as I transition into my next one. And so I'm excited. I am. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff coming up. So I am, yay. Yeah, I feel like I'm on the edge with you. So it's a good thing. This morning, I didn't have a whole lot. I don't want to say that I had a whole lot that came up, but what was interesting to me is I had this memory of a childhood memory that I had in this one. You know how as young we watch movies and we're totally impressionable around movies, and in this one particular movie, hey girl, good morning, Val. You got the text message early this morning too, huh? So this morning I had this memory of a movie that I watched when I was young. And I don't know if it was a movie or what it was, but this young girl met an older woman who was her older self. And she was trying to, it's kind of like some of those movies, somebody goes, I don't know if they went back in time or whatever to their younger self, and she was having conversation with her, and the young girl was like looking on her body and verifying, like, oh, did you get this scratch and I got this, so she was kind of verifying that it was actually her but in an older body. And I could totally relate to that whole ideology, because I will tell y'all, I had this woman in my life when I was younger. And I remember going over to her and looking at her and verifying like scars on her body, trying to see the scars that were on my body and looking on hers to make sure that we didn't have the same scars. It was really interesting because once I identified that she was not me, it's a weird thing as a kid to think about, but I identified that she was not me. But just to be on the safe side, I used to sleep for a period of time with on my chin, because I wanted to make sure I was pushing my chin back, because there was something about her face that I did not want to be my face, and so I was doing this modification. It's so funny because a lot of times what I see people, we see people doing is that people try to, how do I want to say this? Somehow there is this, we don't always accept ourselves as we are. We look for modifications and enhancements and different things. Like if we were, I also hung from the door. Somebody told me if you can hang from a door, it's only 2 seconds. I couldn't stay up there. Y'all know I just didn't have that kind of body strength. But I was told, my dad used to do crazy stuff to me too. But I was told that if I could stretch my body, I would be taller, because I wanted to be taller than 5'2", right? I made it to 5'2.5". I wanted to be taller. I wanted to, there were different things about, when I was younger that I had a hard time embracing, because of whatever. I don't know if it was my own judgments about me, but there was so much that at one point in my life I tried to change. I would lay on the ground. I think my cousin Donna said to me that I should lay on the ground every day on the floor and stretch my body. Just stretch. And if I stretched, not only would I'd be taller, but I'd have longer legs. It was funny. It was funny, the things that we think. And it doesn't necessarily, because we've grown up, we figured it out, like, ooh, I won the lottery, right? After a while, you recognize, dang on it, like, I kind of like that woman I see looking back at me. And I hope that each and every one of you have gotten to the point of self-acceptance and saying, oh, I like that person that I am, right? Because it takes us a long time to get there. Unfortunately, maybe, I don't know, maybe you were one that came out of the womb thinking like, I'm the shizzle. I don't know, but for me, it was like a slow dawning, but now that I'm here, is just, why did it take so long, right? Why? And so this morning, as I was dressing and coming out of the shower, I'm still, having a new, a different, an interesting relationship with myself. And thinking about, even, I'm in the Lent session, and we are supposed to do a fast and a feast, and these different things like that. And so even thinking about that, how is it that I can think differently about even how I'm treating myself now. So yeah, I've been giving some serious thought to. I'm not used to having on an extra necklace. So I've been giving some extra thought to, different things that I can still modify, not with a idea that I'm not loving me, but just, okay, what else is there? And so whether it is the hormone thing, making sure I've got my hormonal stuff in check, or whatever it is. What is it with you, right? I think here's my supposition. Of course, I talk to Dr. Brown on a weekly basis, and I think that many of us don't recognize the power of food and how it interacts with our body. But if, I should have somebody that goes grocery shopping with me so I can do those muscle tests. Have you ever seen a muscle test? So a muscle test is that your body itself has an intelligence, and it can communicate with you it bypasses the brain, right? This thing of where we're talking about our appetite and what we like and all of this stuff. The body has a tendency to bypass that. And so one of the things that it says, now y'all don't laugh at me, right? I have this here on my desk. This is sunflower kernels. It comes out of the sunflowers, right? I buy these by the bag, and sunflower seeds, sunflower kernels. Anyway, they're shelled already, and I keep them here on my desk because sometimes I just munch on them. It makes a mess. They're messy, yes, because they fall in my keys on my keyboard and all of that stuff. Whatever you call this, it's called a keyboard, right? So anyway, So it would be taking something like this in your hand and holding it out. So if you were to ask yourself about a particular thing and to say, is this good for me, right? Like if this is not good for me. But then when you somebody presses down on your arm, if it's okay for you, your arm should remain strong and you have a difficult time pushing it down. But if it is something that is not good for you, you would put that in your hand and then ask the same question and see if you could push your arm down, right? And thereby getting an indication from your body if something is good for you or not. So, if you and you can test this out, you can kind of get a baseline for different things. Maybe you hold some sugar and then an apple or something, just to see how your body responds and reacts to those type of thing. So it's just it's a good thing to do. um and just think about doing it, asking the questions, because sometimes we're eating things that are working in opposition to the health and vitality that we would like to have. I Yesterday, I when I was talking to one of my girlfriends, I told her, I said, when I look, when I after my book and stuff comes out, I told her, I said, I'm gonna get her to style me, right? Which, because I am not a big shopper, right? But she loves to shop. She loves to shop, and she loves to um like dress people. And so I told her, I said, I'm going to have her style me one day. And she started talking about, I don't know why she mentioned this, but she started talking about, oh, I love Monique, is what she said. And I thought, oh, okay. And so she says, so she has always been so sharp with her hair and with her clothes. And I thought about Monique, and that, you know who Monique is, the comedian, and that she has been large and now she is small. And now what she is doing, from when I watched her on her page, she is raw. She is doing raw, which is a beautiful thing. Raw is raw, is that's more than a notion. I don't know if you guys have ever, even for a day, tried to have a raw diet, but it ain't no joke. Um, and it's not because it's extra work. It's probably just different work. So whether it is just because you're doing a lot of vegetables and fruit and mixing flavors and all of those things, it's a different way of eating. And so it doesn't include bread, because bread is cooked. And so your stuff becomes lettuces. You everything is wrapped in something like a lettuce instead of a piece of bread. And just different food. It's a whole different notion. So when I think about the things that I can change and how it might affect my health, those things are very interesting to me. So I think that it is, I'm all for everybody figuring out how to love yourself as you are, and then how to become more better in who you are, because you are constantly, I know that I am, figuring out ways to be what and who I am in a mo better kind of way. So that was the kind of stuff that was on my mind. But when she started talking about Monique, I was thinking to myself, like, what made her go from me styling my clothes to talking about Monique. I was just kind of like, that's interesting. But yeah, Monique does dress sharp, but yeah, that was kind of an interesting, switch. So, but things come to us when they're supposed to come to us, right? The asking the question, what's here for me? What's in this idea or thought for me, right? Just asking the question is always an interesting thing. What is it that I needed to see? Terrific Tuesday to you, Sarika. How are you, darling? It's always so good to see you on here. Yeah, they're just, yeah, so good. So yeah, just figuring out what it is, that you or that each of us can do that is puts us in a state of our mo better, right? And so during Lent, one of the questions that has been asked is setting an intention for this season. Um, and so, I don't know what other people, if you have intentions, do you have an intention for your day or for your week or for a month or whatever? We are embarking, we're coming up on the month of March. And I know that during the month of March, I am taking on some different things because just because I can. When I ran into a girlfriend the other day and we were talking, she said to me, I wanted, she says, I wanted this year to be different. She says, I wanted to make it different for me. And so she was talking about how serendipitous it was to run into me and then for me to have something for her that then set her on a different path or a different trajectory. The key about this is the ability to say yes in that moment, right? Somebody may come up to you. Yeah, let me, because I woke up one morning a couple of weeks ago with this idea that if I had an opportunity to, I would audition for some kind of a role. But that could take me into a number of different things, right? And so, but it's stuff like that that says that we're going to say yes when something comes up, right? So, not that I go out seeking for something, but even when the opportunity presents itself, how do we then say yes to that opportunity? Sarika, I adore you. So I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you, sweetie. um, yeah, so when we're met with this opportunity to say yes to something new, having the courage to say yes to the something new. It could be a new job, a new relationship, a new activity. Just got a text about going line dancing. It could be any number of things. It's just being able to say yes to it. Y'all, the pandemic has made me, let me own my stuff, right? The pandemic has made me so, and it could be that too, that I have dogs now. There's a lot that changed for me through the pandemic. And now on the other side of this shutdown, it's this re-emerging, so we're allowing things to die that don't serve us anymore. So whether it's the relationships or the diets or the jobs or the self perceptions and definitions, the smallness, the tendency to shrink back when we could step forward. There are so many things that we could let die a natural death That a lot of times even when it has died, we're busy trying to resurrect it, trying to breathe life into something that we should have let go a long time ago. And so it's having courage, because courage, to let go of the habitual. I'm always talking about this habit, the habits that we have. Our bodies are programmed, our minds are programmed. We have habits that we do all the time. And letting go of the habit is sometimes hard to do. The habit is what? I drink coffee after I meditate in the morning. I have a cup of coffee. I'm not saying that the coffee is bad, but it's what I do. Good morning, Walker. How are you today? Grand rising to you as well. So it's thinking about, even doing puzzles in the morning. It's a new thing that I'm incorporating because I want to sharpen my ability to think and to focus in on things. If it is, the yoga, or if it's the exercise, or if it is, getting back out to the park to walk, or whatever it is setting in motion something different and something new. And so allowing that to happen, saying yes to it, is a major thing. And a lot of times, y'all, we got to break the habit of being who we always have been, so that who we desire to be can come to the forefront. That is no shade on your present. It's no shade at all on your present. But it is making a decision about what it is that you're doing. So if we're being intentional, contemplative is a good word. Yes, if we're being intentional with our day, with what we're doing, the intention could be that, I most of the time have an intention that I want to read a certain number of books per month. I will have an intention of how I don't wear my Fitbit anymore, because what I figured out is that I was doing things more for my Fitbit than I was for me. And so I needed to take that Fitbit off and still be able to do my exercise. Just like my meditation, I stopped tracking it in a tracker because it became more about the tracker than the actual activity. And I'm just sitting there like, let me just sit, because I got a target, or I got a goal. I want to be intentional with my actions. One of the things in my Lent class that I am attending, somebody else is teaching, the word for, or the idea, the intention for this week was intimacy. And so it was asking that we intentionally be more intimate in our life. And I was thinking to myself, like, wow, what a good, a good kind of thing to have. What does that look like? What does it mean? Does it mean that we're more open and sharing? Is it that the power of touch? We talk a lot about somatic healing, which is this idea of connection. And so how do we connect? Are you a person that hugs? Do you never get hugs? Do you see people? Do you actually talk to people and share something that causes you to feel a level of vulnerability as you're sharing? I mean, there's so much to that around the idea of intimacy that is not necessarily sexual, but rather connective. And so that idea to set an intention for our week, that means that, whatever, if you've got an idea that you want to cultivate, deciding what that is and then doing that, right? It may mean reaching out and making phone calls to people you haven't talked to in a while, or somebody that you may know who is more isolated than you, or me, or that maybe needs some connection. I was talking to some cousins yesterday, and this idea about how a lot of times we just, when we hear the same things over and over again, and sometimes people never challenge the narrative that has been given. And so, for me, I not only want to challenge myself, I want to challenge you too. What's blocking you? What's holding you back from this? If and a lot of people, I'm gonna tell y'all the truth too about this. Because I love sharing my stuff, right? I'm always talking to people about the ability to flirt too, right? I will, so, and flirting doesn't have to have an intention to it. It doesn't mean that just because somebody flirts doesn't mean that now I'm trying to, get them in a relationship or trying to do something. It just is such a unless of course somebody takes it, the people are so funny. Oh, she owned me. And then, whatever. Flirting can be lighthearted and fun. Um, Going out to, when you go to the store, talking to people that you see, smiling at people, opening the door for people, doing different things that make, complimenting someone. It lifts their day. It makes them feel amazing. And so the question is for me, when I'm like, why not? Why not? It's so good. And then we all need to laugh, right? We all need that kind of thing. Oh my gosh. And when's the last time you just had just good, stuff like that? Just, for the sake of it. And so, I love to figure out how to lighten up, right? And I think that, any one of us can do that at any given time. Yes, there's a lot to be, that causes us to feel as if we've got to be on point, on guard. But then there's so much that is just I forgot to laugh. That's what I want to tell myself. Oh my God, I forgot to laugh. Because some stuff is really, it's laughable. It's laughable. And we often forget to laugh. Let me read this final daily guide of the month. And I'm going to read this final daily guide of the month. And because I can. This is entitled Spiritually Sound. And this is the last one from Reverend Raymond Anderson for the month, because it's the last day of the month. Tomorrow, beginning this new month, we will have somebody different. And I will tell you, I reserve the right to change my mind about what I do. Y'all know that. And so it might be, who knows? We'll see what happens next month. This first quote is taken from Thich Nhat Hanh. The title of this reading is Spiritually Sound. Thich Nhat Hanh, this says, spiritual practice is possible for all of us. You cannot say, I'm just too busy, I have no time for meditation. No. Walking from one building to another, walking from the parking lot to your office, you can always enjoy walking mindfully, and enjoy every one of your steps. That's from Thich Nhat Hanh. From Ernest Holmes, he says, there is no dualism in the universe, as I have always said. There is not God and something else. There is no such thing as good or evil in itself. There is only what is, which automatically and mechanically reports from itself or interprets itself to us the way we look at it. And that is from Ernest Holmes' Anatomy of Healing Prayer. Dualism is the idea of opposites, right? Good and evil, God and the devil, all of that stuff. And he is saying there is no dualism. So here's what Reverend Raymond Anderson wrote. He says, are you spiritually sound? Are you spiritually fit, healthy, solid, strong, and in good, stable condition? How would you know if you weren't? Are there certain conditions or symptoms that would lead you to identify as being spiritually unsound? As we end this month, let us continue to explore the superpower of curiosity. Today and throughout the year, curiosity is the consciousness that enables us to remain open at the top, to continue to create more effective ways of living and being in community. What are we doing to become spiritually sound and to maintain it? If the definition of ineffective living is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, what are we called to believe, to feel, to do that will result in different, healthier, more effective results? Are we finally willing to make those changes? As a movement, New Thought has not had a major new thought in a long time, indicating that perhaps as a movement we are not as spiritually sound as we think we are. The question is whether we are curious enough to investigate, explore, and engage as a movement so we can become what we can become. We are where we are today due to the consciousness we have had thus far. To be what we say we want to be, we must have a new consciousness. So the affirmation that he puts with this is, today I exercise my areas of mental equivalent, thinking, feeling, communicating, acting, and my life, my community, my world benefit from my love, my light, and my consciousness. So thank you, Reverend Raymond, for that month of curious daily guides. And like I said, it sounded maybe when I say that, it sounded a lot like it was a PR campaign for science of mind, religious science, that type of thing. It could be that he is challenging the very structure that he is a part of. That it needs to stretch and to grow and to rethink its positioning. A number of years ago, they started a campaign out talking about they're working towards a world that works for everyone. And a lot of times I have felt in the community that there is this, what do I want to say? Is still dominated by white men. And a lot of times I have not felt the receptivity from the community that I would have loved to have seen. And so when a lot of times what we do is in especially in our community, we have tended to create our own you know so whether it has been whatever it's been, um, we have always figured out a way to create something that works and is inclusive of the community that we value and love. And so that is exactly what I have done and refuse the boundaries that the labels imply, whether it is science of mind. While I love science of mind and have studied it, I push back at those boundaries. If it's A Course in Miracles, I love A Course in Miracles, teach it, love it, read it, but I push back on those boundaries. If it's Unity, love the Fillmores and the teachings and the works that they've done, but I push back on those boundaries because one of the things that I know is that I'm a chain breaker, right? That, and hopefully that is what we all are. We are chain breakers. We have been locked in before into areas and things that don't necessarily recognize the innate abilities that are within us, whether it is to have these spiritual insights and awakenings, or the physical prowessness or the talents that come innately. We have had to break the chains and shackles that have kept us from our truth. And so we continue to do that. It's my hope to to push the boundaries on what is possible. I was reading something the other day and came across that name of Usain Bolt, that the track star, right? And how he just, even without trying, outpace, just like nobody even comes close to it. And so if we are always just trying to, because I know to some extent we have been taught the way things are supposed to work, and we operate within the parameters that we've been shown, that we've been taught. So if somebody tells us that we need to footnote everything that we write in a paper, or if somebody tells us that without this, you can't really come with, even this fear of an all black universe, I do believe it's called, in that book, this physicist, or what's it called? He's an astronomer. He's talking about how even when he was, doing the work that he was doing and making the discoveries that he was making, the scientific community was telling him, no, you got to get back inside of the parameters, and that you can't do that. You can't move beyond this. And at a certain point, we got to kick down the door, and refuse to be shackled and chained and held anymore. And so just because it doesn't fit with, any of the teachings that we've learned so far, for me, I'm allowing nature to also teach me, because I am not separate from nature. I am a part of it, and I know that it speaks to me. And so it is, and unless we have the courage to speak to how we engage with it, we will always be dancing to somebody else's tune, and shackled to things that are not what we're capable of. Y'all, it is, it's time for us to keep going towards what's possible. And so what is that? What does that mean? What does it look like? How does that manifest, right? And so it becomes this, how do I keep pushing the edge? And y'all, it's interesting because, even like when I was telling y'all that I went on Monique's Instagram thing, and she's talking about this raw diet that she's on. And it's like, oh, you know, whoa, right? Um, for so many, the relationship that we have with food, with community. Yes, yes, the ecosystem we are. Good morning, Linda. Happy belated birthday. I said happy birthday to you the other day. But when we recognize that we're connected with this, right? And all of it is here for us. Maybe what we are doing, because we haven't like tried it, because for some reason it seems a lot easier. What we see is that people are showing us ways to cook these amazing dishes. As I go through my timeline, I'm like, ooh, 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 right? But is my body saying ooh, or is it my eyes? Is it my taste buds? And so if I'm really paying attention to what feeds me, if I'm really paying attention to how spirit speaks to me, if I'm really paying attention to all that this is, right? All of whatever life is showing me naturally, if I'm paying attention, then what I'll start to do is to move into alignment with that truth, right? And so for all of us, how do we get closer into alignment with what's natural to us? And 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 could it be that we've just never investigated it? Could it be that we've always been taught one thing? Here's the interesting thing, because I think some of this stuff is so fascinating. When you think about nowadays, there was the neighbors that I had that baby have since moved. And when I was talking to them, they just had a baby, right? And the dude was talking to me about getting formula. And I said, formula? What's wrong with boob milk? I mean, it's not, I was just thinking to myself, like, I didn't perceive her as, as working. What's wrong with just some breast milk? Who told us that, what's artificial, this synthetic stuff? Who told us that was better? Who told us putting powder in a bottle was somehow better? And it may not be, so it may not be comfortable or convenient, but who, so there is so much that we have taken that is natural. We've got natural stuff that we then modify and then we put in our bodies, and we wonder why. I can't help but look at myself and think of how it could be, how I could be different. Maybe. And it's not me sitting up there saying, well, what my parents should have done or what society should do. It's what am I doing? You guys, we all have to take responsibility for ourselves. Not what's convenient. Oh, the stores don't offer this. Or it's amazing. When I first went vegetarian, I could talk about it years ago, and people would look at you and laugh. Like if you asked, well, what do you have that vegetarians could eat? And they look at you like, are you serious? Like, we don't do that here. They would kind of laugh at me. If even if I asked for something that just didn't have meat in it, right? Or something like that. Things are changing. Yes, the dynamics of home has changed. Women went to work, and so alternatives became convenient. And and so even when the excuse of going to work is not there, they are still looking at, I don't even know that it's convenience. I don't know that it's convenience. I think that somebody somehow gave them the idea that something else was better. I don't know, because when well, I, I know people who work, who pump at work. Not saying that everybody sees the value in that, but you know, I think that that is part of, I no shade on anybody, but I'm just saying that we this planet here, we are earthlings, we are earth beings, and there is a relationship that we have to this entire ecosystem that is important and necessary for us to investigate. And so if, say for instance, and I'm really contemplating this, because especially after watching some of Monique's videos, I was thinking to myself, like, maybe I ought to do a week of just raw. Or maybe I need to incorporate that not just in the Lenten season, but incorporate that into my week. People tell me, well, it's Meatless Monday. Well, every day is meatless, right? For me, for a vegetarian, right? So instead of just saying Meatless Monday, why don't we say Raw Tuesday and Thursday, or a Raw Monday through Friday, and only eat something if we so desire that is cooked on the week. Why not flip this on its head? I can do this, right? It's all about, to me, setting an intention. I don't have to be the same. And this goes for everything, y'all. We can flip the scenario that we have been given on its head. Wonder if we did this with relationships too, right? To be in a relationship is not to imprison your body or your mind to me and me alone. Wonder if we did this with jobs and started thinking about, ourselves not as, I think we need to have a different relationship. I get pushed back so often on the things that I say, right? So if I'm talking about our dynamics and relationship with money, or the dynamics and relationship with a job, or the dynamics and relationships that we have around how our, the structure. So much of our lives is talking about keeping out things rather than incorporating things. Wonder if we stop looking at this, here's a novel idea, right? Wonder if we stop thinking that the reasons why we go into work is about us and our selfish selves, or the clothes that we could wear, or the cars that we could drive, or the houses that we could live in. Why not think about it in terms of community? Why not think about it in terms of who can I bless? Because I'm connected. I'm connected to community. Wonder if we started thinking differently about this whole thing. If we started to look at the structure as it's been set up and decided, you know what, let me flip some stuff here. I wonder how we can do something different. Let me see if I can talk about this in from a different standpoint of view. There's a part of me that wants to circle around the block, because it used to be, this, oh gosh, I want to say it used to be a communal thing. that if we didn't feel cut off or disconnected from one another. But at the same time, what I recognize is that that's not true of everybody. Some people have learned how to, to gather their own stuff and say, you know this is mine over here, and don't touch it. I and what is that about? What is that about? Sufficient unto the day and the fullness thereof. I don't know, but at a certain point, I think that it deserves some consideration. It deserves some contemplation. Community involvement was a strong cultural service and was destroyed by design. Yes, yes. And so what I'm saying is we can't. I don't want to be, pointing the finger at somebody else and saying, "Hey, this is what you've done. This is what we've managed to do." Because by and large, if they can make it seem like it was our decision, right? That's what we've done. We've made it seem like. But when even during the civil rights era, it was, we're gonna walk instead of ride that bus because it's what the community needs. And so it was inconvenient. Yes, there was a lot of things that at the moment were inconvenient, but now I need to have people to see their interests as separate and apart. And if I can get you to see that your interest is not the same as, which is the game that they play in, even with this economy, they pit, they want blacks and, whether it's poor blacks and poor whites, they don't want you to see your interest as the same. They want to change things so that you don't see this. But it comes back to me. What's my intent? Right? I'm not looking for somebody else to set my agenda, to talk about what my priorities ought to be. I get to set those. I get to make determinations. And so when we're looking at this, the question becomes, who are we going to be? Who are you? Who am I? What's my intent? What am I doing? I tell you, my girl Marianne Williamson, y'all know I'm always, talking about her and her books and the things that she says. She's announcing that she's running for president again. She's announcing this weekend that she's running for president again. And to get out there and talk about the things that are confronting our community. And so in her last election, it was funny because people kept trying to, ignore what it was that she was saying. But I'm just so glad that, she held her ground and that she is coming right back with the same things. She was saying that, people are saying, like stuff like, you can't win or whatever. And she was like, yeah, tell that to people who said the same thing about, Donald Trump, that he couldn't win. She was like, why do we want to limit ourselves by this idea of what we believe is possible? And you guys, anything is possible. So whether it is your relationships or your diet or your job or your, whether it's our relationships to our children or to our ancestors or whatever, it is possible. It is possible. Right? Even, what did I read? Somebody said that even the word impossible carries with it possibility. There is nothing that is impossible for you. It's just really just making up your mind about who it is that you want to be and what you want to do. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing or what anybody else, oh, nobody sees it. Don't worry about that, right? Don't get caught up in all of the other exterior stuff. Focus in on what is it? What is it that I can do? What is it that I desire? Right? And when we start turning it around, ooh, oh yeah, let's do this, right? Let's, whatever that may mean for you. And I don't know what it is for you, but I know, as I think about this, it's not that I'm thinking that I'm going to, live forever. That's not even my focus. However, but while I'm living, while I am alive, I want to be on the edge. I want to go out there and do what I do. So what does that look like? What does that mean? It's still unfolding, right? It's still unfolding. And if it means showing up here every day, if it means doing all the little stuff that I got going on here as I'm moving towards that, right? Don't be dissuaded by how long you think it's going to take or what it's going to take. Just start. Just put the first step out there. The little song from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer always comes to me, where he says, just put one foot in front of the other. Just put one foot in front of the other towards whatever it is that you desire to do. One foot, right? Inch by inch, they say, is a cinch, right? So if you just put one foot in front of the other, soon you'll be walking across the floor. Put one foot in front of the other, soon you'll be walking out the door. All you got to do is just start with the first step, and don't quit, right? Don't give up. That's what we do when we start a new exercise routine or a new, eating regimen or a new something. We people have a tendency to just, this ain't working and then stop doing it. Don't do that. I mean, we see that with so many people in addiction. I get it. It's real. It's a real thing. And it's a real choice, day by day, step by step, inch by inch. It's a real choice. These things are real choices that we are making. We make real choices not to, curse somebody out. We make real choices not to indulge in things that don't uplift. We make real choices on a regular basis, not to be jealous, not to argue or to lash out. We make real choices to turn the other cheek. We make real choices to speak with love. We make real choices about seeing a person's innocence. We make choices every day, and it's step by step, inch by inch. Oh my goodness. And so then once we make those real choices to continue in that's the work to do. Yeah, I get to, lay in the bed at 5:15 and think to myself, like, am I going to get up today? Am I going to meditate today? Am I going to journal today? Am I going to get on the internet today? It's a choice every single day. And I get a yes. Or I wouldn't be here. And so it is not always the easy things that, easy does it. Yeah, sometimes it is. And pushing past your resistance. And just allowing the vision of what you have for yourself to come to the fore. Right up front. What is that? What's the vision? Yes, I ask myself on a regular basis, what's the best use of my time, my talent, and my attention? What's the best use? What does love look like? What is it? What is it that I'm to do today? I'm asking not only of myself, but of God. What would you have me do? Like, these are my hands, use them. These are my eyes. What would you have me? What, my mouth, my tongue, my spirit, my feet, where would you have me go? And then be able to do that. Be able to say, okay, okay. You know, one foot in front of the other. That's all. That's all. That's what I got. And what is that? I mean, sometimes we're so busy trying to, get out our yardstick and measure. Have I gone far enough, or is this enough, or am I further ahead, or all of this other stuff? That, oh my gosh, this is just like some of the lessons that I'm doing. It's like this idea that Martin Luther King talked about. Am I going to be am I going to be caught up in the material versus the spiritual? What am I, this idea of dualism, is it an either or thing? Which is going to win? Am I really in looking at it from somebody else's eyes, or am I looking at it through my own? And what's important and valuable to me? Damn it, I'm a Pisces. We are spiritual beings, right? The old souls of the zodiac. And so I'm here to do my job. I'm showing up saying Sandra's reporting for duty today. Use me, right? And so, but what I know is that we don't all have the courage all the time to do that. Because the world says something different. Y'all, been here, done that, right? I got, so yeah, we get to choose. We get to choose. And I'm choosing this spirit. I'm choosing, and you know, it's just so good. It's so good because what I know is that we all have that ability to shift. We can shift any day. We can shift, and I just saw the Forrest Gump in my mind, and how Forrest Gump had been. If you saw the movie, Forrest Gump was running across the country, and he was just running. He got all these people that's running with him, and I love you, Forrest, and they supporting him in his run, and then all of a sudden he just stops. And then he turns around to head home, and people were like, "Where you going? Where you going?" And he was like, "Going home," right? Going home. So, yeah, he just turned and went back home. And each of us get to make that choice. We get to go back home, or we get to get off the merry-go-round, or we get to, redefine how we see the world. We get to make those choices. So, good morning, Everett. How are you? Great morning to you too. Yeah, it is real. Life is good, right? Life is good. And just to be able to know that we got options. We got options. And you guys are not followers, right? You get to set the pace. You get to lead the pack. You get to go out there like Usain Bolt, and you can like jog along with with the little stuff. People don't get to define your greatness or your goodness or your talent or anything else like that. You get to, okay, now I get to turn it up when I want to turn it up. Damn it, I get to turn it up if I want to turn it up. Yes, you can choose to build your own merry-go-round. Yes, right. So we get to do that, and that's the beautiful thing about it. So y'all, don't wait for it. A lot of times what we do is we wait for somebody to choose us, pick us. Ooh, ooh, ooh. We still the kids on the playground waiting to be chosen. Choose your darn self. Choose yourself today. And do what it is that you do, not because somebody else gave you permission or even paid you to do it. Do you, whatever that may mean. If you want to get out on the sidewalk and do a little dance, or if you want to do whatever you do, right? But do you? I think that is such a amazing thing to do. And then what we find out sometimes in the midst of that is that that was perfect, and it was somebody waiting on us to show up and do just that, which would give them permission to do and be who they are. Y'all just And Sandra, I'm talking to my damn self, right? I'm talking to me as well. I ain't trying to tell y'all something I'm not saying to myself, right? Not waiting for a seat at the table, right? Choosing to make your own darn table. That's right. That put me in the mind of Nzinga Walker. I don't know if you watched me and Dr. Brown. I guess it was a few weeks ago. We talked about Queen Nzinga, and Queen Nzinga was negotiating with the Portuguese because they kept trying to take over her kingdom. And so they said that it was the Portuguese tendency to give the Africans a mat as they sat in chairs at a table, looking down on them. And then Nzinga was like, I'm going to look you eye to eye. And so when she walked in, her guards dropped to a knee, and made a seat for her. She sat on their knees as her throne. Two men behind her, hands out. You not only do you have a place to sit, but you got some place to rest your hands, and whatever else you need, we got you, Queen. And so what we need to do is recognize that in every instance, we don't have to bow. We don't have to, walk around with our faces, our head cast down. That day is over. That day is over. We got to stand up in our full power. Not letting somebody else define how we do things. They sitting up for somebody else's entertainment because they deem it appropriate. We turned, who was it that turned a scat into a art form? Was that Ella Fitzgerald or somebody turned a scat into something we do just just like a Hussein Bolt? It's so easy. It's just like, I'm gonna slide on in here and take off. Oh my goodness, y'all. Yes, you are more than a conqueror. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And we got to just stand in that. They don't get to crown us whatever it is. Ouch. Own it yourself. Own it yourself. All right, y'all. Thank you, God. I love the way Spirit shows up through me. For me to hear that and for y'all to hear it, I love the way Spirit shows up in me. So thank you for being here and sharing this with me, witnessing this with me. I love and adore you. And I'll be here tomorrow. Yes. Your strength comes from your strength. Yes. We just, yes. Right? Stand up in it. All right, y'all. I'm out of here. I got class coming up. And I will yep. Y'all know I'll be here tomorrow. All right, blessings to you.